welcome as we prepare to dip into Deacove. Today we're going to dip into a game that seems like appropriate to dip into because the game is called Not an Island, which could mean that it's water, and we dip into that. But that's not what the game is about. Instead, Not an Island is sort of a successor to the game Princess, which is a successor to the game Granny's House. There might be other Deacove games before that, but the basic premise is you have an obstacle and an item to use to overcome that obstacle, and you try to figure out how to do that. This one's a more complex take on it, and it's also special in that it's one of the board games that I can think of that has an interesting title. That's kind of a rarity for a board game to have a title that's kind of interesting and maybe makes you want to know more. I think it's mainly found in war games because they're taken off of quotes. And it just so happens this game is the title is taken off a quote as well. The title doesn't necessarily have to do with everything in the game, but we'll get into that later. Let's first start off by looking at the box. So the concept, it says right here, a card game that nurtures imagination, self-expression, listening, collaboration, and clear thinking using a storytelling format. Applications: be prepared for some role-playing, values discussions, problem-solving, group dialoguing, as well as opportunities for creative writing. The setting might be science-fictional, but the issues dealt with are very real ones people face every day, regardless of age or situation. I think that's true of any good science fiction. I wouldn't say this game's really science fiction, it's more science fantasy. The game has proven to be a valuable resource wherever groups gather. Plenty of replay value, too. I think that's true. There's lots of replay value than just says the contents, but we'll look at those. The game scenario: once upon a time we made a quest to find the legendary but lost time machine so we could return to our home dimension. On Earth, it is too difficult trying to use our knowledge and resources positively. Earthlings just do not seem to grasp that all living things are connected in very deep ways. No one is an island by themselves. When something good is done, everyone gains, and when something harmful is done, we all lose out, resulting in more and more troubles and a loss of precious life force. Ages 10 to adult. Teens love it most. Players 2 to 15 are possible, but for a group game, at least 4 works best. Alright, let's open it up and see what we got. We have the rules. No board for this one. We have these like definitional pamphlets. One talks about what the resources mean, because you'll see those, and the other one talks about what the situations. Situations are the problems, the resources are the items used to solve them. So we have them in these separate card stacks here. I rubber band them. I don't care. Some people have a problem with that. They would like me to put it in a baggie. Maybe I will sometime. These I don't remember what these do, but all right. So let's take a look at our instruction book. So these are the items, right? And these are the problems, I think. Yeah. Okay, so Not an Island. We've got the game scenario. You, the players, have special mysterious origins. Now this goes a little bit more in depth than the box cover does. Planet Earth is not your home. You long to return to your home dimension via the legendary, but that's kind of the same. It is your last hope. Or you will have to live out your lives on planet Earth. This will be difficult because you are deeply peaceful humans and try and use your knowledge and other resources positively and not to harm other living creatures, except maybe in self-defense. Now that's interesting. So we're from another dimension, but we're still human, and we're using a time machine to go back. So I wonder if there's some maybe we're just from the future, I don't know, or from the past. But even then, you try to find a better way. All living things are connected, and, as the poet John Donne said, no one is an island. When something good is done, everyone gains, and when something harmful is done, we all lose out, leading to more troubles and loss of our life force. The object to work through situations using the resources to get to the last card, the time machine. The game ends in one of two ways. If you get through the situations and into the time machine, you succeed. If you can't get through the situations, you are stuck on Earth. You may not get through all the situations, even though you have resources left, but you run out of ideas, or else you have ideas but run out of resources. Yet, who knows? You may all get together for another search sometime soon. So I like this about the game. The lose condition is that you're just stuck to live with in misery with the rest of us. I think that's one of the more interesting things. Though the gameplay I think is good too. You say, okay, we decide on a game leader, blah blah blah. We separate out the cards. Okay, I'm not going to go through all that. So we're going to do a shortest game. Involves 10 situations. All right. So what we're going to do is we take out these cards, right? And we start with Once Upon a Time. The last situation is, oh, you can't see that. Sorry. Okay, we start with Once Upon a Time. Let's make this so nice. Put this up. Prop it up. Yeah. So you can see that great title. Okay, we have Once Upon a Time. And then we're going to have 10 situations. Okay, so 9 situations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I might need to zoom out. We can work with angles. Actually, it says in the rules you can do this. 7, 8, 9, and then we'll have the time machine be going back this way. Yeah, bump these up. We'll get it. This is like the warm-up for the game. Use your creativity to set up the game. Is that the time machine? Yeah, okay. And then we have the end. Now you're supposed to be telling a story as you go through it. It's kind of difficult to do that. You find yourself just kind of encountering the situations. But we'll try to do that for the purpose of this playthrough. So we're going to start with the basic game. Now the basic game has really nothing to do with no one being an island, because you can just solve things however you want. All right, so first let's pass out the cards. And we do 5 more resources than we have cards. So if you want to play a longer game, you can play any number of situations you want. You just always give yourself 5 more resources. I'm just going to play solitaire. Normally you just divide these up between everyone who's playing, but I think you can also share, probably. I don't remember. All right. So we got our things, and I get to just look at all of them. We got some binoculars. Okay, the box isn't that important. Let's look at our resources. Let's put our resources. The box is important. Sorry, I don't mean that box. We have some binoculars. We have, and here's where this book really helps, because maybe it's a mechanic. We'll assume it's a mechanic. We have some vegetables. We have a light. A strobe light, maybe. We have a personal computer. We have a keg of something. We have some tomatoes or jelly beans, maybe. We have a lady who befriended a dog. We have a circuit board. We have a babushka. We have, or is that not, no, it's, babushka is a baby. It's not a babushka. It's a Slavic woman. We have a rose, we have a bunny, we have a Swiss Army knife, we have a Cub Scout, and we have some oregano, maybe? I don't know. We can always look at what those are. So what we're going to do, and we don't have to worry about the numbers on here. The only number that's pertinent to us is the far right number, because that tells us what the resources are. So let's look at what our first... Once upon a time, not that long ago, we went in search of the legendary lost time chamber. So now it's a chamber, not a machine. This is our story. All right, so situation number 1. Oh, is actually situation number 1. So see the number there? I don't know if you can see that. It's number 1, a winding road along hills. We have to find our way on this long, unknown road. Well, I don't know why we would need to use a resource to do this, because we just follow the road, right? But maybe the road is actually going to lead us astray. So we need to follow a different path. So let's see if this bunny is actually a bunny. Number 10, a cute bunny wabbit. Okay. So I say instead of following the road, because why would the road be a situation if it takes us where we're supposed to go? Maybe we're not supposed to follow the road and we're supposed to follow this bunny instead. I agree, that works. And so we do that. Now, normally when you play, if someone in the group doesn't think the thing's going to work, it doesn't work. And then you got to figure something else out, right? All right. We followed the bunny off the road, which led us to number 44, a slick guy. An armed robber confronts us. He is after our money and any valuable possessions we have. How do we deal with this dangerous, aggressive, very tense person? Now, in the more advanced versions of play, you want to try to resolve situations without anyone getting hurt, and there are mechanisms that promote that. In this version of play, there are not. There's the other main difference is see the number on the far left here. If you can't make that out, that's a 5. That's the highest challenge difficulty. You have to use a 5 to figure it out. But since we're playing the basic game, we can use anything, and I actually prefer that you can just kind of be you can be a little more creative that way. Well, sometimes creativity comes from being limited, but you could just not have a 5 and then there's nothing you can do. And I like the idea that you, like in Princess, you can use anything to solve anything, and that's how it is in this basic game. So I want to look at what item 26 is, and it's a glass container of herbs. These are said to be very special herbs that have fantastic powers. Only you may know how to use them. So, I think this dude needs to chill out. Maybe he's trying to get money to buy some herbs. So we're going to give him some herbs, and he is going to be totally cool with that. And we're going to have a mellow time, and we're hanging out, enjoying our herbs, and then lo, doth there be a baboon. I'm like, whoa, you see that baboon? I don't know, man. Do you see that baboon? All right, let's look at the baboon, see if it's really a baboon. It's a huge baboon. Ordinary baboons will just watch humans, but occasionally a warrior will get ready for a vicious attack. Now, I think they attack in groups. That's what I believe about baboons. So let's get to know some of our other items to see if we can figure out a way by this huge baboon. Or maybe he ate all the other baboons and he's like a mega baboon. That's why he's... okay, a large keg on tap. Could be full of whiskey, maybe some magical essence, maybe just water. Nothing wrong with water. Okay, I don't know if we could use the keg. Oh, I actually know how we could use the keg. And we're not going to do it like we did with the herb, because I don't know if a baboon would just drink from a keg. Because if you're not accustomed to alcohol, it doesn't necessarily taste good right away. But if we roll the barrel towards the baboon, we know how much large monkeys and apes and simian types love large barrels, and the baboon will get on the barrel and start to roll and kind of do tricks for us, or for its own personal enjoyment, but we'll enjoy it as well. And I think that definitely works. Okay, let's move along on our journey to a snake of some sort. That looks like a ball python, which are not dangerous to humans at all. But we'll see. Maybe this is a different kind of... Oh, it's a boa constrictor. It appears to be asleep as we try to pass quietly by, but then its tail twitches and its head raises. Look out! Okay. Do boa constrictors move quickly? I don't know. Let's look at what some things we have. We have this girl who's made friends with a dog. Woman and a dog. A friendly dog. A personal training, calming being kind. Or maybe sending the dog off on a mission. Oh, okay. Number 25, that's this jar here, is a bottle of pills. Only you know what these pills can do. I love those. Then we have our Boy Scout. It's a Boy Scout, even though he's got the blue shirt of a Cub Scout. Reading a map and with a full equipment bag. He's young, but a trained scout can do almost anything. Now here we have another number. It says 1 + 1. On the bottom, a few of the cards have those, and those let you look ahead to see what the challenges are, but I frankly don't want to mess with that. Mechanic at work, that's this guy. Let's just go ahead and identify them all. Here we have an ET light machine. In the hands of a talented ET, that means extraterrestrial, such as yourselves, beams of light can do amazing things. Only you know what you want to do with this light machine right now. I don't want to do anything with the light machine right now. Then we have a portable computer, a little screen, and a small keyboard, both hooked into cyberspace. The instrument is only limited by the ability of the operator. Put it to work for you. Okay. Number 41, an electronic board. We all know how many things in this world work on electronic boards. This one is a large beast, and in the right hands can do wonders. Put your electronic talent to work. So what I assume this means, since generally the larger the electronic board you have, it doesn't necessarily mean it's better, because it could just be really old. It's one thing that happens with electronic boards over the years is the components get smaller and smaller. So we'll assume that it's like recently made. Maybe it's even ET made. All right, and this is an old woman coming from the woods where she's gathered wood and wild goodies such as herbs and berries and so on. She knows a lot of what we can expect ahead. Which lets her tell us about ahead, what's ahead with the 1+1 thing. Rose is a rose, and is sometimes so much more than just a compelling, wonderful fragrance. A pretty sight for sore eyes. It might even be a thorny, beautiful flower that casts spells or breaks spells. So we are given a lot of leeway here. Finally, we have Swiss Army knife, right? Swiss Army knife. All right. This one is the complete package used by the Swiss Army. No toy here. Even a toothpick and magnifying glass if you know your knives. All right, so we still got to get past this snake. It'd be easy to use the light machine. I'm kind of tempted to use the woman with the dog. Remember, we're trying not to have anything be hurt. I think this Boy Scout is, he has his flute merit badge, and thus he can use it to like kind of charm the snake. And as he does that, the snake's head's going up and down. And like he slows the duration as it goes on. Slows until the snake finally, the last like dropping down of the head just goes down till the snake gets back asleep. Because he just woke up, you know. We could all just be a dream to that snake. Thank you, Boy Scout. Alright. Now we have number 2, which is a thick forest. We must go through a deep, darkening forest. And again, we have a path clearly depicted. So I'm assuming if it's a problem, we should not use the path. Oh, I never looked at what number 32 is. It's probably healthy food. A bowl of vegetables. Okay, wonderful fresh veggies of all kinds. Note the variety. Food for the body and maybe for the soul, too. All right, well, I think, you know, if we eat right on our trip, camping, or going through the forest, we'll like have the energy and kind of the self-confidence we need to just go through this forest and be all right. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll use these vegetables. We'll eat them as we go. And, you know, we'll make sure we ration it so we don't just eat it all at once. And we continue on through to, here we go. It's on. Ooh. Okay, we have number 51. This is an angry man is accidentally bumped by you because it's dark in the forest. The man is on the edge of losing it completely. He gets abusive, swearing at us, threatening us with physical injury. I think this is where the flower comes in. He's like, hey, you. This actually, I ran into an angry man today. I didn't run into him, but I was bicycling on in the bike lane. We actually had a bike lane. And there was this long line of cars, and as I went by the long line of cars, several of them just started going into the bike lane because they were tired of waiting, but they weren't going to be able to go through the bike lane. And this one just like cut me off completely into the bike lane. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, this is a bike lane." And he cussed me out. But I didn't feel bad about it because it was a bike lane. And so I don't know what he's so mad about. Anyway, that's kind of like this guy. If only I had these resources to deal with the guy in the car. But really, I just kind of went around him, and then he cussed me out, but then he like went back into the road anyway. So I don't know. I think people instinctively don't want to be driving a car. But anyway, this flower is gonna just calm him down. He's gonna smell that stuff. He's gonna appreciate the gesture. No one's done anything nice to him for a long time, which makes him angry, which makes it so people don't do nice things for him. So it's kind of this vicious circle. And this flower is gonna break that cycle. And he's like, "Man, thanks, man. No one's done anything nice to me for a long time. I'm so sorry." I don't know if there might be a mechanism by which we're supposed to get more resources. This might be one of them. I don't think it does. I don't think we do get more. There might be a way to do that, but I don't want to read through all the rules right now. Okay. So he's like, "Hey, you guys need to go that way if you're trying to find the legendary time chamber." We go that way, out of the woods, and we find this pedestal upon which is what? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. It said a fairy princess, but that looks like a box to me. Oh, it's an empty box. We haven't been paying close attention to the state of our supplies. We open the box and find it empty. Which supplies and how to remedy the situation is up to you. Okay, well, we ate all the vegetables is kind of how I look at that. We do have this mechanic. Oh, I know. No, this is perfect. This lady sends the dog to get us more vegetables because that's what kind of dog it is. It's a vegetable dog. And there happens to be like a lot of buried potatoes around, and this dog knows how to find them. And not just potatoes, but other root vegetables such as rutabaga, and that's a root vegetable, right? A parsnip, a carrot, a sweet potato. The other kind of sweet potato, which is orange, people call it yam, but it's not a yam. A yam is a different one. The dog also finds those. The dog finds yams as well. So yams and two kinds of sweet potatoes. Beets, lots of beets. What other kinds of root vegetables can you think of? Can't think of any other root vegetables right now. That's probably enough. Thank you, Doogie. Thank you, lady, for helping us talk to the dog, because, people don't know that, a highly trained animal requires a highly skilled trainer. And so we could have just this dog by itself with us, but not be able to really get it to get us vegetables. There has to be this lady to like stroke its shoulder in just the right way to mean get the vegetables. All right. So being resupplied, we set the empty box back on the pedestal, and then put all the vegetables in our backpacks. And then we find this fellow. He runs up and he's like, "I smell some food." And then he says, "I'm not an escaped convict, but we know by his outfit and the handcuffs he has on that he is." And so we offer to share our vegetables with him, but that doesn't use a card. He's also kind of like scared, so we give him some pills to kind of calm him down. They're just mild sedatives. They're not any big thing. It's not a big deal. We share our food. We give him some pills. He comes and helps us out. All right. And then, but it turns out those pills cause a bit of a problem. He becomes addicted. So like we're traveling for like days, and then we go through this city. We don't know the city. We don't even speak the language. We've traveled a long ways. We find he's been using needles, and so that's a little bit of a problem. Fortunately, we've got our nice lady here who has the she has some like herbs which help deal with withdrawal. Still really pisses him off, and he eventually tries to break into a pharmacy because the herbs actually calm him enough so that he can formulate a plan to break into the pharmacy, and then he gets caught and goes back to jail. So sorry, but you know, he was a murder man, so that makes sense that it's not bad for everyone that he goes to jail. All right, finally, in the back of the pharmacy, we find, in place of where that thing that would like take your blood pressure, they've stopped using those, except if you have a cell phone, then you can use them. And this particular pharmacy wanted to go one up, and they tried this like even more high-tech blood pressure monitor, and it turns out they got confused and they took the legendary time capsule and put that there. So now we got to figure out how to use it. Let's take a look at situation number 53, because this is a big deal. If we can do this, we can get off this crappy place called the Earth, and we can go back where people are nice to each other all the time. The time machine is in the cave. That's the name of the pharmacy. We need to get into the cave and make the time machine work. Oh yeah, the pharmacy's like on lockdown because they just had an attempted robbery. So we can finally return to our true home and be reunited with our family and friends. So that's two problems. Okay, we got to get into the pharmacy and we got to make it work. Well, I think if we attach our circuit board to their alarm system at night, we can go in, and let's make a special challenge of using every single one of our things to get out of here, because we don't want to take it with us. We want to leave any iota, any like taste, any remnant of this filthy planet Earth behind us as we go off to a brighter tomorrow in whatever place we came from. Okay, so first of all, we scouted out with our binocs. We get our mechanic to get this thing onto the security system. We jimmy the lock. Oh, now maybe we use this computer to run the circuit board with the alarm system. And then and it shuts down all the systems. We jimmy the lock. Then we use the mechanic to get the time machine working again, because we took all the power from it. So he's able to route it to the computer's power source, which is enough, because in our dimension we don't need a lot of power to do things because we've really mastered efficiency. And then we use this cool strobe light to make it like a really awesome show to go with all the lightning and stuff that happens when we go back to our home dimension. So it's kind of like a farewell present to the Earthlings, to maybe lift their spirits a little bit, so that maybe they'll try to do better, even though we're ditching them and we're not going to help them do better because we've done enough. That's the game. We were successful in the basic game. Let's just, before we sign off here, look a little bit more at what's different about the other games. I kind of went over it. So, the other big thing is the thing that incentivizes you to do good or bad. We just decided to do full good without any incentive. And this is the thing that lets you add more resources. So we would have been adding, if we were playing the hard game, we would have been adding resources every time we solved something in a positive way. I guess we weren't always positive. We were kind of neutral sometimes too. So if you solve it in a neutral way, nothing bad happens. If you solve it in a way that does harm to someone, then you add another situation to the track. So that can be, there's no real way to do a murder run on this, because eventually you'll run out of resources and you'll have a lot of situations left to go. So you kind of don't have the choice. If you're going to go one path or the other. Sometimes you might not have any other ideas. If you do neither, then you just don't add any more cards. So that's the only thing that makes it different. And then you also are using the numbers game, which might force you So the numbers, you have to use a number that matches or is greater than the situation you're trying to solve. So that might force you to have to use something that you can't think of any like positive way to deal with it to solve a situation, and might force you to do something bad. Maybe in the future I will do a hard game run of this now that I've talked about it, because that might be kind of fun. One thing that's kind of interesting, I remember looking at the examples on one of these. There was an example with a spider, which I thought was interesting. So I thought they were saying it was good. What was that example? Well, maybe I can't find it. And maybe it was... Oh, here it is. Okay, this is part of the basic game. Never mind. So it has nothing to do with being good or bad. So it's not until you get to the very hard game that the not an island thing comes up, that you really want to be like trying to solve things as you're peaceful. Except for the premise, I guess. You're trying to get away because too many people are an island, I think. And so that's not an island. I tend to, when I want to play a game like this, I tend to play Princess as my go-to instead, even though this has a lot more options. For some reason, that game just seems to flow really well and kind of be perfectly encapsulated. But this one is a fun experience too, and I think there's stuff to do with it, especially if you want a little more complexity to your use this item to deal with this problem style game. This game is definitely better than Granny's House, I will say. So check it out, Not an Island. We'll see you next time. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about scheduling right now because I don't know. Bye.